Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. The program is Focal Point. Rob, let's grab clips 1 through 4. We're going to play these fairly rapid fire. This gives you an idea of the ineptitude of this administration. I will be honest with you. I do not think, now I'm not a presidential scholar, so I could be wrong, and I'm willing to be proven wrong. But I would say that not only is this administration, not only does it have malice toward America as founded, I believe the president and the people he's gathered around him, they believe that America is inherently racist, that it is inherently evil, that this evil of racism is in its core. It's in the DNA of America. President Obama has used that analogy. It's in our DNA. And if something's in your DNA, you can't fix that. There's no way to repair that damage. You have to destroy it. You got to destroy the organism and put a new one in its place. So I think that President Obama is motivated by that. He wants to punish America. He wants to discipline America. He wants to bring America down. He wants to bring it to its knees. He wants to hurt America because America is intrinsically evil and is the source of all evil in the world. So you've got some malice there on the part of this president, but it's coupled with galactic ineptitude. I mean, it's coupled with incompetence to a staggering degree. Kind of incompetence, honestly, I do not believe we've ever seen in American history. So this is a lethal combination. The malice of the president toward this country and his galactic level of ineptitude. Now, I want to play 4 clips that give you an idea of just how the Obama administration has no idea what it's doing in Syria. They've got no idea what to do. They have no plan. They have no strategy. They have no message. It's what's coming out of the various members of the administration, whether it's President Obama contradicting himself, whether it's John Kerry contradicting himself, whether it's President Obama contradicting John Kerry, whether it's John Kerry contradicting President Obama, whether it's Susan Rice wandering all over the planet. There's no coherence to what they are about. So let's listen to clip number 1. Here's the Obama administration. These are words from their own lips. This is the Obama administration on the subject of the red line. Let's listen.
We have been very clear to the Assad regime, but also to other players on the ground that a red line for us is we start seeing a whole bunch of chemical weapons moving around or being utilized. That would change my calculus. When I said that the use of chemical weapons would be a game changer, that wasn't a position unique to the United States, and it shouldn't have been a surprise.
Some have tried to suggest that the debate we're having today is about President Obama's red line. This debate is about the world's red line. It's about humanity's red line.
I didn't set a red line.
Okay, so that's President Obama. Well, red line for us, use of chemical weapons. I didn't set a red line. So that's the Obama administration on the subject of the red line. John Kerry saying he set a red line, telling it to Congress. Then Obama says, no, I didn't set a red line. Now, here is the Obama administration on the time when this strike is going to occur. Let's listen.
My friends, it matters here if nothing is done. It matters if the world speaks out in condemnation and then nothing happens.
Our capacity to execute this mission is not time sensitive. It will be effective tomorrow or next week or 1 month from now. And I'm prepared to give that order.
The President believes that the United States of America, for a decision like this, is stronger when you have the time to be able to have the support of the United States Congress and obviously the support of the American people through them.
If we don't confront this now, I promise the people of France and Europe and Americans, we're going to see this issue grow.
There was no expectation that this would be, that Congress would be finished with its deliberations over the next week or so.
All right, so it's urgent. On the other hand, Congress is going to take more than a week to do its deliberations. Now, what about the scope of the strike? How much force, how intense is this strike on Syria going to be? Here's the Obama administration wandering all over the planet. Let's listen.
Our action would be designed to be limited in duration and scope.
And what Assad feels in terms of our response will not be a pinprick. He will know it when it happens.
Limited military action will not be designed to solve the entire Syria problem.
That is exactly what we're talking about doing. Unbelievably small, limited kind of effort.
The United States military doesn't do pinpricks. Even a limited strike will send a message to Assad that no other nation can deliver.
So Kerry says, unbelievably small. President Obama says, that's not what we do. We don't do pinpricks. Now, on the subject of diplomacy and a diplomatic solution to this problem, clip 4, let's listen.
We'll keep the pressure on a Syrian regime that has murdered its own people and support opposition leaders that respect the rights of every Syrian.
I personally called the foreign minister of Syria and I said to him, if, as you say, your nation has nothing to hide, then let the United Nations in immediately. Instead, for 4 days, they shelled the neighborhood in order to destroy evidence. He could turn over every single bit of his chemical weapons to the international community in the next week. Turn it over, all of it, without delay, and allow a full and total accounting for that. But he isn't about to do it, and it can't be done, obviously.
President Obama has consistently demonstrated his commitment to multilateral diplomacy. He would much prefer the backing of the United Nations Security Council to uphold the international ban against the use of chemical weapons. But let's be realistic. It's just not going to happen now.
We would not be at this point without a credible threat of a military strike, but I welcome the possibility of the development, and John Kerry will be talking to his Russian counterparts. I think we should explore and exhaust all avenues of diplomatic resolution of this.
So John Kerry, it can't be done, won't turn it over, not going to happen. Susan Rice, not going to happen. We're going to have to go in. We're going to have to do a surgical strike. President Obama says, whoa, let's keep all diplomatic avenues of resolution open at this time. And here's what Victor Davis Hanson said. He's a pretty bright guy. And he said this about President Obama. He wants to use force, but he doesn't quite want to use force. It's going to be substantial, but not very substantial. He really thinks it's important to consult Congress, but he isn't going to do it. But then when he got into trouble, he was going to do it. And then when they were going to vote no against him, he postponed it. He really believes you always have to do it, but of course he didn't do it in Libya. And the winner of everything is Vladimir Putin. I mean, he's Machiavelli. He's absolutely, in a diabolical way, brilliant, because suddenly a man with no aircraft carrier group, no Nobel Prize, no big economy, no democracy, is the moral superior to the president. He's posing as a man who stopped a rash and immature Obama from killing people and breaking stuff. So that's the sleight of hand that Putin has pulled here. He's painting himself as Gandhi, and Obama is Clint Eastwood out there wanting to shoot things, shoot up the community. So he's Obama now, a cowboy like Bush, and Putin is the reasonable Gandhi-like peacemaker. You know, I got a column here from USA Today, piece written by Glenn Harlan Reynolds. He's a professor of law at the University of Tennessee, talking about Obama's speech the other night. And he says, look, Obama is a laughingstock. That's the heading of his column. Obama is a laughingstock. He starts this way. Remember that dumb cowboy George W. Bush, who alienated all our allies and dragged us into wars of choice in the Mideast? And remember that goofball Mitt Romney, whom Joe Biden a year ago accused of wanting to go to war in Syria? Both of them must be having a big laugh over the way things are going for Obama now. When I wrote last week on our bumbling Syria diplomacy, it seemed that things couldn't possibly go further downhill. Boy, was I wrong. At least Hollywood is still behind the president, or anyway, is mostly keeping quiet about its opposition. So because, as Ed Asner said, they, quote, don't want to feel anti-black. So it's come to this. While George W. Bush was savaged for bombing brown people, now if you're against bombing brown people, you're anti-black. But I'd bet that Bush and Romney aren't actually laughing. That's because they're both serious men who understand international politics and who care for the future of the country. They no doubt understand that, as fun as it is to watch a political opponent twist in the wind due to his own ineptitude, the price will ultimately be paid not by Obama, but by the people of America. Our diplomacy is a joke. Our president is a laughingstock. Our enemies are emboldened, and we've still got over 3 years of this to go. Nothing funny at all here, alas. Now, some of the questions have to do, let's go to clip 5. Some of the questions have to do with whether this is brilliant diplomacy on President Obama's part, and he's tried to create that impression. And so Jake Tapper is asking Chris Murphy, a Democrat senator from Kentucky, asks him the question, is all this planned? Is this some part of some kind of clever, genius-type strategy? Here's the exchange.
Last question and a quick answer, if you would, Senator. We're all happy about a potential path to peace, but do you buy the fact that this was all kind of planned by the administration and floated on purpose, or do you think we kind of just bumbled into a happy possibility?
Yeah, I believe in serendipity to a point, but I do believe that the president has been talking to the Russians about this for a number of days at least, and ultimately there's some pretty smart guys in this administration who I know have been thinking long and hard about every possible way around war, and that's what the president told us today in our caucus meeting with the Democrats, is that he has no interest in going to war. He has no interest in military strikes if he can find a way out of it. I think that the Obama administration has been thinking in very creative ways for a long time about how to avoid military intervention if possible.
So now that's the way and the media is collaborating with this hysterically absurd scenario. In other words, what clearly happened here is that John Kerry made an offhand comment. It was off script, wasn't on the teleprompter. Say, hey, if he gets rid of his chemical weapons, but that's not going to happen. It was a throwaway line in a speech. Didn't even plan to say it, just spur of the moment, popped into his head. And immediately the State Department tried to back away from it. No, he didn't mean that. It was just a rhetorical device, not a proposal. But Russia glommed onto it, and then they were kind of stuck with it. And so this casual, offhand, flippant, spur of the moment, impulsive, rash statement on the part of John Kerry suddenly became official American policy. And now the Obama administration and his acolytes in the media and elsewhere trying to say, oh no, this was all a clever part of a pre-planned genius move on the part of our president. Back in 2.